Welcome everybody. This is the September meeting of Holbeach Parish Council. Before we start, I'd like you to join me by standing for a minute's reflection for our late Sovereign, Queen Elizabeth II. Blessed and glorious memories. Thank you, Mum. Okay, also, we take a thought for our colleague, Councillor Angela Mary Newton, MBE. As we take a minute to give thanks for all of Angela's service to South Holland, please join me once more to stand in reflection. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping. Our fire drill is the same as always. Emergency exits are here and the main entrance door. If the fire alarms sound, please make your way to the fire assembly point, which is on the far side of the car park. Okay, so I'll introduce each agenda item and invite councillors to speak. If you wish to debate on an item, please clearly raise your hand. I will address members in turn. Please stand when addressing council, and when voting on an item, please raise your hand clearly. As with all council meetings, the first 10 minutes is dedicated to members of the public to ask questions and to make short statements. After this section, we have a further 10 minutes to receive tabled reports from elected members of Lincolnshire County Council, South Holland District Council and the police. Do we have any questions, please, from members of the public? Mr. Pond.
Thank you, councillors. It's 22 years ago that I stood up and asked a question to Holbeach Parish Council. September 2000. There was a response in October 2000, and what subsequently happened, I do believe was a breach of my human rights. The way the council was run then, it was not surprising that the chapels in Park Road were being used for storing wood. It's not surprising that the parish council was picking the bill up for the drying of the wood with electricity. It's not surprising that the park keeper was seen with the tractor and trailer late at night delivering wood around town. That was how the council was running them days. In the early 90s, I recall being in a council meeting and Councillor Terry Harrington announcing to the meeting that the park keeper had obtained some bricks and he was going to solve the problem of the windows being broken in the chapels by bricking them up. That building was listed in 1989, and to do any work on a listed building legally you need listed building consent. At next month's meeting, would it be possible for the clerk to bring the listed building consent for the bricking up of those windows, what was done in the early 90s, and also for the pretty windows that was put on the building in around about 2015, please?
I don't remember the first incident because that's before my time. The second incident with the mosaic artwork, that was done through Transported, I believe, and I don't know how much involvement we have directly with that, but we can certainly look into that. I can remember there was an agreement to have them put on there, and I believe that it was done in consultation with the conservation officer, but obviously we'll have to look back and see in the minutes.
So we'll store that information and come back to you in the next meeting.
That's fine, but as the owners of the building, Oldbridge Parish Council is legally obliged to look after the building.
Yes,
and you need all the paperwork. If you haven't got the paperwork, you can't rely on somebody else from South London District Council providing you the paperwork.
I mean, thank you for bringing it to our attention. Not many of us were councillors back when you're referring to it. It's going to take a little bit of work. And just in fairness, the next council meeting is in only a couple of weeks' time. It might be that we will have to move it to the November meeting.
Yes,
because we've only got 2 weeks to try and find this information out.
That would be more appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
The other question while I'm standing, and we're on the subject of the chapels, what is happening regarding the roof?
Okay, I think that's been covered.
It is, but I can, if you want me to do a quick update, we've received an email today from the contractors and they're hoping to be back on site on the 3rd of October.
Right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paul. Okay, so the next 10 minutes is dedicated to elected members of LCC, South Holland and the police. Do we have any reports from
No, we have apologies from Councillor Tracy Carter, but no submitted report, and the police are no longer giving us submitted reports.
Okay. Thank you. So we will move on with our meeting. So I'm now going to instate standing orders and commence with our first agenda item, which is 2022-3-065, and that's apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received and reasons given from Councillor Peter Howden.
Okay, thank you. Item 2022-3-066, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest in accordance with the requirements of the Localism Act 2011 and to consider any requests for dispensations in respect of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests in agenda items. Members, do we have any declarations of interest?
Declaration of interest for asking. Is it? Not sure.
That is 69.
And then you've got the payments list as well.
No, there's no other than that.
Oh, sorry, yes. Because we're on the front line.
Okay, no problem. Any other declarations of interest at this point?
69F as well.
If we reach an agenda item and you realise you do have an interest to declare, please mention it at that point. Item 2022/3067 is to resolve to approve as a correct record the notes of the meeting of the Council held on the 8th of August 2022 and to authorise the Chair to sign the official minutes. Has everyone read the minutes? Do we have a proposer and a seconder? Rick, thank you. Mark, thank you. And all those in favour?
Rachel?
I don't think I was here, was I?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Did you get a clear count?
Was everybody?
Okay, bear with me while I just sign these away.
Is that all the...
Yeah, it says old St Mark's on here, it's all down.
Okay, shall everybody happy if I make the amendment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, someone is...
Gosh. Sorry guys, it's just a process we have to do. I miss more. Yeah,
The heating.
thank you very much. Right, item 2022/3-068 is the clerk's report, and item A is to receive a report from the clerk, please.
Okay, so following on from discussions at the last meeting regarding stump grinding, the stump grinding is not appropriate to be carried out in a cemetery near graves. Out of respect, I'm not going into details as to why. An email from Anglia Water was circulated to all members regarding the proposal for 2 new reservoirs. The locations, slightly changed because of the delay to the meeting, the location's not been disclosed, however. One is in the Fens and the other in Lincolnshire. There was a webinar in August that members were invited to. It's now been updated and the location has been confirmed as South East Sleaford. The South and East Lincolnshire Community Lottery is being launched and there is an online launch event on the 27th of September. If there are any local organisations that are interested, we are happy to pass on the details. We've received an email which was circulated to members from Aldi. The email arrived after this agenda went out, so this matter cannot be included in tonight's meeting. There is a public exhibition on Wednesday the 28th of September between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock in Tigers Bar. The conclusion of the audit is back and there were no recommendations or notes. This has been displayed on our website and the digital notice board, and copies can also be obtained from Cupro Chambers. Re the sinkhole, we've requested detailed storm drainage maps from LCC to cover the entire parish, which we now have. We are waiting for the updated costings from Anglia Water and LCC, and I believe somebody posted today, you said, didn't you, earlier? I
Yes.
haven't seen them officially.
That's some costings.
Now that the road is going to come, we've asked for a full breakdown from when the issues first occurred. And finally, we would like to offer our thanks to Lyndon Secker for his generous gift of the The book is at the office if anyone would like to view it. It's absolutely amazing what's been done. Grateful thanks to him. And to receive an update on vacancies, there's no change. We still have 8 vacancies for co-option.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, so item 2022-069 is the Open Spaces Committee, and to elect interested members onto the committee before we go into the agenda items. Do we have any persons that would like to jump onto the Open Spaces Committee?
I'd like to put my name forward.
Lovely, that's the thing, thank you. Do we have a proposer and a seconder? Thank you, Tim. All those in favour? Okay, so welcome on board to Open Spaces. Thank you, Sophie. Now, item 8 is to receive the report from the chair of the committee, which is Appendix 1 in your documents.
So the way forward was decided for alterations to the toilets at Carter's Park. Following the Rospus report, communication and meetings are ongoing for a workable solution to the slide in Carter's Park with the supplier. It was confirmed that the current rules maintain that a grave space cannot be purchased just as a memorial without any interment. Following current ongoing efforts to split a surrendered allotment along with other transitions, it will result in the current waiting list to be exhausted. Interim follow allotment inspections went well. The grass cutting tenders are to be recommended for council in 2 parts. Part A, as currently contracted, and Part B, as current minus Netherfields and Hallgate Cemetery. Holly cutting tender was discussed and confirmed ready to put out, and tree work was deferred until the next meeting and in receipt of the new tree report. Winter work schedule has been discussed and suggested.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so item D under Open Spaces is to resolve to agree to adopt the amended cemetery rules and regulations. Did everyone have those? Oh, okay. Before we do that then, when an item comes onto the agenda that's been agreed in the last 6 months, we have to suspend standing orders to enable us to amend it, so go back on a decision that we made within the last 6 months. So do we have a proposer and a seconder, please, to suspend standing orders to discuss the item? Mark and Rachel, thank you. All those in agreement? Okay, so standing orders are suspended. So item B is to resolve to agree to adopt the amended cemetery rules and regulations. Has everyone read those?
I was just going to say the only alteration is what was in the last part of the report,
Which
that
is
it can't have an interment.
Yeah.
A little more.
Yeah. Okay, so do we have a proposer for those? Rachel, a seconder, Mark, all those in favour? Okay. Motion passed. Okay, so we'll reinstate standing orders. Moving on to item C, to resolve to agree the recommendation of the committee, the format of the grass cutting tenders, which has been just discussed in the report. Is there anything to add? Yeah.
The only thing to add was it was agreed at the Open Spaces meeting prior to this meeting that some sort of clarity in the sense of amount of cuts, so that it gives people that want to tender a bit more of an idea of what they're tendering for as opposed to being done on each per cut. And that was potentially put forward as 1 per week, which the tender has been amended, so just to make it aware.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. So the item to resolve to agree the recommendation as Mark's just discussed. Do we have a proposer? Rachel, a seconder. Tim, all those in favour? Okay, that's agreed. D, to resolve to agree the recommendation of the committee the way forward with the sliding Carter's Park following the communication from the supplier. Again, you've mentioned that in your report. Is there anything you would like to add? Thank you.
When we discussed it in open spaces, it was agreed to recommend that we don't accept the company's response, which was to add an additional platform to the one at the top of the slide and then turf or grass seed around the top area. As a committee, we don't feel that this resolves the safety issues that the slide currently pens, and it's not fit for purpose in our assessment of it. So we want to go back and say that we're not prepared to accept that.
Just want to say well done on that decision. We ordered something. If you expect paying for it, we should get what we've ordered. Well done. So here we have to agree the recommendation. Do we have a proposer? Thank you, Rachel. Isabel, seconder. Rick, all those in favour? Okay, agreed. Thank you. E is to resolve to agree to apply for the licence from LCC for a half-barrel planter at Hobby St Mark's, which is the parishioner to provide the planter. I think this was discussed in a previous meeting. Anything to add? Quite straightforward.
I don't know the decision, but I know a little bit about this from private conversations with the public.
The public was here in the meeting, weren't
But we elaborated on that, so we make something. This is the couple who referred to notice board for us and the bench in that area, and I think we should support them. They're going to look after it. So if we can help them with the application, that would be fantastic.
they? What's the cost of the application?
They would have to, if they're going to maintain it, they would have to be volunteers of the council because we would have the licence. So I don't know.
There's no cost. Okay, so there's no cost at all. Okay, so to resolve to agree to apply for the licence, do we have a proposer? Rachel and a seconder. Tim, all those in favour? Okay, if we can let the parishioners know that we'll apply for the licence on their behalf. Thank you. Item F is to resolve to agree the recommendation of full council on the way forward with grass cutting whilst the machinery is awaiting a repair. Mark?
Yeah, I think this has come up recently in the sense that the second Kubota has now had an issue with it, so we're down to just a zero turn. So obviously it's highlighted the issue of whilst we're waiting for repair, zero turn can't go on the road, so we've got to transport it where it's got to go. So it's a suggestion was put forward for discussion about having the use of borrowed machinery. So it was to bring to the table and discuss what we should do in that instance.
I think it was also going out to other companies like we did before.
Okay, anyone anything to add? Isabel?
Yeah, obviously we have still got the grass growing quite rapidly, so we're going to have to get it cut somehow. So hopefully the machinery will be repaired fairly swiftly once we make our agreement later on. But in the interim, we've either got to reduce the amount of time that we cut in, so once fortnightly, so we can do that, but as the grass is growing quite quickly, that may not work. Or we're going to have to either look at potentially borrowing or doing a short-term add-on to our grass cutting contract to include the other areas, just to tie so that's the only other options we've got.
Just a quick question, how are we getting the zero turn transport at the moment, or is this Kubota just broke down?
Pull the trailer with the zero turn.
Okay.
Kubota can still
Ah,
be used
right.
to pull.
Oh, so there's an issue with moving the zero turn around anyway?
No, there isn't an issue with
There
it.
isn't.
Sorry. Can you speak through the chair? Tim?
The issue with the Kubota is the VTO shaft has sheared off. So therefore, when it connects, it can drive on the road no problem at all. It's when it's operating the cutting deck via the PTO. So to travel it on the road, towing the trailer for zero turn is no issues at all.
Okay, so obviously that still involves two people, we can still do the church out on those sort of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the issue is both of them have got the same problem, both the motors. They can't use the cutting deck, so they can't do grass cutting. The zero turn works for smaller areas, but using it on the larger areas takes longer. And also the other problem is you can only use one machine at a time, so we've got a lot of cutting back work, etc. to do, because we're just going into the winter schedule. So timescale wise, it's having only one machine to get the grass cutting done is obviously taking longer.
You could be probably wrong here, Sophie, but grass doesn't grow in the winter. Once it's had its time cut, late September, beginning of October, you don't really do a lot of growing on through the winter.
It's still growing now. So
Sorry,
it's
You
a
understand,
yeah.
You can raise your hand when you want to speak, please, Tim,
Sure.
and then wait till you're invited. Isabel.
Yeah, just going back to that, it is mainly, it's not the fact that we can't cut it, we can still cut it with zero turn. The problem is that we are going to be, that means that it's going to take up pretty much most of their time doing that job, because it's going to take them longer because they've not got the two machines, which means we're not going to get the other work done. So it's, do we look at either borrowing another machine from elsewhere so that two members of staff can work simultaneously like we have been doing, or do we do a short-term add-on to our contract so that that means that even if it's not at all of the areas, say a couple of the areas are being cut, so that that frees up our staff to do the other work, as we're just going to get a huge backlog of work because of the situation we're in.
Just before I come to Mark, with regards to the situation that we've got at the moment, the contractor's still looking after all the other areas, and am I right in thinking that there's an additional agenda item on this agenda that could resolve this issue? Yeah. So instead of us wasting time talking about it here, can we not defer it, get the other items seen to, or are you wanting to use this as a backup so you've got something to fall back on in case the other item's not agreed? Mark?
The other thing I'd say is we haven't really got two options. We haven't got the option of borrowing in, because judging by previous conversations we've had numerous times about hiring in plant, we're not insured to hire in plant, so we're not insured to borrow in plant either. So in that sense, we've only got one option, and that is to increase our tender for a short period of time. Alternatively, later on the agenda, get the machines fixed, pay ASAP, and then do it ourselves.
Yeah. Tim made a valid point. Grass will slow down eventually. It's just not quite slowing yet because the weather's not settled, not cold enough. Okay, so here it was to agree the recommendation of full council the way forward with the grass cutting whilst the machinery is awaiting repair. It sounds like that would be to increase the tender if we don't agree the other item further down. I'm understanding correctly, yeah? And I've got a second there. All those in favour? Items agreed. We've just agreed to increase the tenders. Does that cover one size fits all? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so 2022/3070 is Planning, Properties, Emergency Planning and Speeding Committee. And A is to receive the report from the chair of the committee, which is Appendix 2.
Right, at our last meeting, all the planning application comments were agreed. The SIP locations for October were agreed as High Street and Holbridge Road. We also agreed to purchase more fixing plates, depending on what budget we have left. Following the meeting at Saturday Bridge, we discussed the potential improvements that we'd like to see there and agreed to put forward some ideas and send them through to LCC. We were awaiting a date for the emergency planning training, but that we've now got a date of the 13th of October. And we have received 2 quotes for the repairs of the windows at Pimbrough, and the committee reviewed these, and we have got a recommendation before council, just put it down the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, so item B is resolved to agree the plan responses. H09058421, alterations and upgrades to building, which is a retrospective. H09073822, render to front and rear elevations, including change of front door. H09013522, appeal under section 78. H09085922, proposed single story extension. H09058122, amendment resubmission of H09011922. And H09030722, which is a residential development and erection of a dwelling. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for those? Steve, all those in favour of the response? Okay, agreed.
No objection.
No objection. Okay, so item C is to resolve to agree to support a parishioner for the community speed watch. And just as a footnote on here, there is no cost to the parish council whatsoever. Details on the drive. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for that item? Mark? Seconder, Rachel?
Could somebody tell us what the community speed watch is? Just very quick.
Yeah.
It basically is a group, they train individuals basically to be able to use speakers. So it's up to you to use them in either I think you have to use them in another area, you can't use them in your own area. But it's a training scheme that allows people to use handheld.
Okay,
I think some of the Spalding organises it all, has it all.
You want to do it on your own property, would you?
Not your own area, no. Okay, so are we going to agree to support the parishioner? Rachel proposing and Sophia second. All those in favour? Okay, that's item's agreed. If we can have that parishioner, please. To resolve to agree the way forward regarding the cemetery chapel's roof, and to resolve to agree the additional spend of £747.07p and £1,250.28p. Did everybody read the information on the draft? Thank you. Sophie?
So, if I'm right, the £747 is for the scaffolding, which they, because of the delay to works due to the VAT survey, which we now know from the VAT survey man that they definitely should have got done before, and the contractors are aware of that. We've had to have the scaffolding up for longer. However, their contract clearly states that they don't specify the time of works. They won't specify the length, so how they say it's extended, I don't know in terms of the scaffolding, because they didn't quote for a time for it to be up anyway. So they would like us to pay for that. And then the other stuff is the recommendations in the changes of materials and the new tiles for the bats to go in as per the bat survey that we have done. However, a little confused because the quantities of the new rolls of the membrane, we're getting 17 rolls of the new felt, but only emitting 5 rolls of the old felt. Now, personally, I'd be happy to pay for any change in difference in price for the materials, but if they're not using one felt, then they can reuse that on another job. And we can pay for the new tiles that need to go in for the bats to be able to get into the roof. But in terms of the labour charges, that should be inclusive of the original tender, so why are we paying for labour again? That'd be my point.
Good valid point, so that. It's good work.
Sorry, that's all right. Just accept.
Okay. Okay, there is some interest. When I read the report, I made the same sort of thing, and the observation about the scaffolding was my concern from the original text. And also with the switching out of materials. If they're putting specific back tiles on, we've got back houses in the back of our office, but that's getting in and out of the space. And they still would have had to put a tile on it respectively, so there's a different tile shouldn't really make any difference, but there is the cost of the tile and sofas there. So there is a couple of points there. Have we raised these queries at all with the contractor? Or is it the first time?
We've gone back to the contractor and said that we would have to take it for council to get their approval, because we can't agree to pay for anything until it's been approved by full council. So they have been sort of left in limbo. They've been left in limbo as to what, at this precise moment, until we've got full council's approval.
So I understand they're not stalling work at all because of this, because they've got to wait. Yeah, they've got a waiting time. Would it be fair for us to go back and challenge these items, as Sophie's quite rightly pointed out? It gives them time to respond quite quickly as they do commence work, but sort of from a payment point of view, I think that these definitely should be investigated fully, especially costings and breakdowns of materials and switching in and out of what they're not using, etc. Are we feeling that's a way forward, guys? Do we agree?
Will we vote?
No, we're going to go back straight back to them to challenge them on the items and the costings to get them to respond, especially about the scaffolding situation. And so there's no point to defer, we need answers. Proposer?
Do you want me to just do the challenge, the first bit, and then resolve to defer to agree the additional spend, because otherwise we'll be stuck if we completely...
Well, we need to challenge both of them because that switch out cost there, with, like Sophie said,
And also
five.
got a response, we can bring it back to council.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we've got another meeting in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so if they come back to us, we can get it sorted.
I would be happy to pay for the difference in the cost of materials, but not additional labour and not the scaffolding.
Yeah, I would agree. Did you have a comment?
No, it doesn't.
No, that's what it is. Okay. We'll take a vote. Proposer? Tim, seconded. Steve, all those in favour? Okay, so that's agreed. Thank you. Okay, to resolve to agree the quote for works to the windows at Kuburu Chambers.
Okay, so obviously they're thin and dry, everybody's going to see them. We did discuss them in quite a lot of detail. One of them includes slightly more things, but we have obviously got our budget that we put aside for the windows, which was when we were trying to go down the route of replacing them fully. And the first quote is way above what we've got in the budget, so we can't really afford to go with that one. The second quote is doable within the money that we have put aside. So we would therefore recommend that we go with that quotation. We just wanted to go back to him to just clarify there was a couple of extra windows that the other one had quoted for them, this one didn't, so we just wanted that extra costing within that, which is now on there, isn't it? Yeah. So we went back to them to get that extra costing, but as well, he also includes for the decoration of the window, which the other one doesn't. So the costs of having the windows repainted was an extra cost that we were going to be budgeting for anyhow, so that would be included in that. So our recommendations for the second quote.
Okay, as that quote's only just come in, and I know they realise that we can't mention any contracts, can you tell us what that price
The
is?
quote, the full quote is £5,140 in total. I notice there's no VAT, I'm presuming he's not, is he not registered? Not that it makes a difference to us.
No.
Okay, so the item now to resolve to agree the quote for works to the window, that's just been explained and we've got a price and within budget. Shall we straight for the vote? Propose and a second. Isabel?
Going on to that, Isabel did mention it wasn't within budget.
It's, the
First
first quote was not within budget.
Oh, the second one is within
Yes,
budget.
yes.
Okay, that's fine.
So Isabel proposed, second. Tim, all those in favour? Okay, that's agreed. Thank you. F, to discuss and resolve to agree the charitable collections policy consultation. That was a good bit of good reading, big document in the drive. Did everyone have a chance to go through them? Quite straightforward. Everyone's looking at me, sort of under their brows at the moment.
I had a little look at it, but
It was just one about licences and things like that, yeah. So people that are doing charitable collections in public must have be licensed, etc. It's the policy that goes with that. So we're looking to discuss and resolve to agree that consultation. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for the consultation?
There's no objection.
Yeah. Rick? Second?
Yeah.
All those in favour? You read it all.
no, I can't understand why it wouldn't add all that.
That item's passed, by the way. When you think about it, we do have people in our
Oh,
areas
it's
that,
right, yeah.
that would be walking up and down. Yeah. Okay, item G, to discuss and resolve to agree the parish council's comments on the solar farm proposal. Again, another nice document that come in.
I haven't got the full paper.
Yeah. Isabel?
Personally, I think we should back it because of renewable energy, we need to be moving forward, we can't keep relying on fossil fuels. Yeah, I have, certainly have no objections to it, I can't see why we would want to object to it, but that's my personal opinion.
Thank you. Rachel? Okay.
My personal opinion, I know that land pretty well. It's very, very good arable soil, and we need to start feeding in our own country. And I would hate to see it used. I believe in renewable energy. There is other ways, but to take our good land, the one at Tarrant has been turned down for the same reason, because it's taken away good soil. So I'm sorry, I don't support it at all.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Tim?
I follow Rachel on that one. Where exactly is this land?
Off Lincoln Lane, opposite Marks.
All right, so it's good. It's this double crop land, isn't it?
Right now.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments from members?
And also, not all girls went very quiet very quickly as well, which was the mark due to the accident.
I think, mixed feelings, clearly in between us, which is bound to be. The rising fuel crisis is putting people into poverty, and they feel that these sort of things, complex plans, help with those costs. They blame all sorts of issues why energy fuels are so high and expensive and crippling everybody. And on the other hand, we've seen great arable land turned into housing, to house people. So, with regards to feeding ourselves, we're also housing our workers, it's a very grey area, so I do respect everybody's decision on it.
And growing over cuts down on your transport costs.
No, exactly. And how many workers do we have? We must have thousands of our workers. So, with regards to how we can look,
Not only just we can't agree as a council as to what we want to respond, then it's going to have to be down to individuals to say their comments.
as I was just going to say, because it's quite as a council, we're obviously not going to agree, I don't think. There's not been a comment from everybody. But as per planning applications, we can comment on them individually and make our feelings known. And I do hope to see those comments on there. Yeah, but because the parish council cannot agree a comment, individuals will respond to the proposed solar farm. Okay, so to discuss and to resolve to agree the parish's comments, which are that we don't agree, and that individual councillors will comment personally on that application. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for that response? Rachel?
Yeah, I'll back that.
Thank you, Tim. All those in favour? Okay, lovely. Thank you. Agreed. So get your comments on there. Okay, so moving on to 2023 oblique 3-071 is PR and IT committee, and it's to elect interested members to the committee. That's PR and IT.
Again, I'd like to put my name forward. That's possible.
I think that was right on your street, that one, is it?
I think it is.
I'd like to propose that, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Rick, seconder. I'm going to second. All right, put my hand up all right. All those in favour? Okay, so welcome PR and IT. So that's 2 committees you've joined tonight.
I know.
You're raising the bar. Okay, and number 8 is to receive the report from the chair of the committee, which is Appendix 3. Do you want me to do it, or you're all right doing it?
I'm quite to do it, not going to have to stand.
No, you are.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Rick's going to
So, Peter's report, calendar photographic competition. 13 photographs have been chosen by the judges. Tube split option has been agreed and the finished product should be available for sale by early October. The draft came in today and some of the pictures look absolutely fantastic. HBC forums, the last open forum at Holbeach Herne Village Hall was well attended and some key issues of concern by members of the public were discussed. The assistant clerk is to obtain maps of stormwater drainage. As already stated, they have arrived. Before each full council meeting from now onwards, there will be an open forum from 1845 until 1910. If any special issues of concern arise throughout the year, additional ones can be arranged. Press releases, opening the Jubilee Garden, the free press are invited to attend, and the inclusive swings being installed. The decision to purchase walkie-talkies for events was postponed until the next meeting. Councillor Hussain will be asked to look into the cost of upgrading the Wi-Fi at Coodborough Chambers and increasing the assistant clerk's laptop to 8 megabytes RAM. CCTV in Carter's Park. The company that's chosen to install this has unfortunately come back to us and said that due to staffing issues, they were no longer able to undertake the quote. Councillor Hussain met with Councillors Hutchinson and Howard and another to advise on the cost of purchasing, and I'll bring that up in the finance report as well. That's it.
Thank you. I think we better get that laptop up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, not.
Sorry, make it old school.
It'll be slower than it was.
Yeah.
But thank you, Rick. That's very kind of you to cover that.
Yeah.
Okay, so item B is to resolve to agree the recommendation of the Finance Committee, the CCTV expenditure following the withdrawal of the agreed quotation.
Okay, so with the able assistance of Sophia, our new councillor,
Thank you very much.
welcome to the council. He's given some quotes for us to actually purchase the equipment directly, and these come in at just slightly over £3,000 gross price, which seems to me to make sense because we were looking at 6k plus, weren't we? One of Sophia has also asked one of his colleagues in the area to give us a price just for the final installation part of it. So current thing is that we would do all the groundworks.
Do you want me to stand up?
If you want to.
Yeah.
I've asked, he's an ex-person I used to know in the past who fits CCTV. I've asked him to give us 2 quotes. One, if he installs it himself, so we don't have to do any installation, and 2, just to put the final end products onto our installation. So hopefully that will come through soon.
So that's where we are with that.
So that's the recommendation of the Finance Committee,
Yeah.
the CCTV expenditure following the withdrawal of the group quotation, and we have that money budgeted for.
Yes. Yes. Councillor Murphy kindly gave us this budget money to cover it.
Thank you very much.
And we've also...
I think it's pocket money.
No, he doesn't get any.
All right.
And we're also suggesting that we defer the chapel's CCTV until next year. And on guidance, we'll probably go with one of the suppliers that's already quoted because the price is very reasonable for what we want done there. I think with the antisocial behaviour, it's more imperative to get Carter's Park done.
So, to resolve to agree the recommendation of the Finance Committee of the CCTV expenditure following the withdrawal of the... Sorry, Tim, yeah?
Just an observation. We now have a second situation where a council member is supplying services to the council. Have we followed all the procedures to ensure that's okay to do? I just want to make sure, that's all.
Okay, Sophie?
So the recommendation is due to Sophia's experience, he's getting a quote, but we'll be going out for other quotes, but instead of a company installing the whole lot, we are going to most likely purchase the equipment directly and then get somebody to install the actual equipment, but we will be doing the groundworks. So it's just like
our councillors from any form of criticism, because otherwise you know what the town's going to say.
To say the prices that we've been quoted from Sophia are good. I've had a quick nosy around on the internet for the hardware that you quoted for. I couldn't see anywhere we could beat it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the hardware is not the issue, it was the fact that it's a colleague that, when we just have to be careful, which Sophie's just covered. Any other comments before we go back to the vote? Okay, so it's to agree the Finance Committee the CCTV expenditure following the withdrawal of the agreed quotation, which has been confirmed at 3,000. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for the expenditure? Rick and Sophia, and all those in favour? Okay, so item has been agreed. Item C is to consider and resolve to agree the parish council's response to the draft recommendations in reducing councillor numbers. Sophie.
I mean, in terms of what they're recommending, it is down to the public ultimately, that's the point of the consultation. I would just like to say that the reason South Holland District Council put on their consultation was actually incorrect. We didn't say it was due to the fact that we didn't have a full complement for a number of years, it was because of the NALC recommendation for the number of councillors for the size of the population. That's why we went with that figure. So it was incorrect.
Yeah, there was a document that confirmed to us with regards to the calculation that Jan kindly put together, and we did say from the start it was only a consultation. It wasn't that we particularly wanted. Some members were against it, but we're happy to stay as we are. We're still trying to attract new members, so if any of us know anybody that wants to come on the council, we still have those seats available. So it was to consider and resolve to agree the parish council's response to the draft recommendations in reducing council numbers. Sophie's pointed out that obviously some of the content wasn't correct, the explanation wasn't correct that South Holland gave us, but having said that, it's the public's decision at the end of the day, which they said no. What's that to still go for the reduction? What's the point if the, I know they've got round two of the consultation to go, haven't they? But if the public have said that already and they're going to come back and say it again, and we're not just wasting their time.
it's I believe it's a set process anyway, so whether we respond now or we don't respond, it's still going to take exactly the same amount of time. So if for reducing it, you still have the opportunity now to send an email to the electorate registrar at South Holland and make your comments known.
Okay, so what do you want to tell them then? Do we still want to go ahead for the reduction, or we'll just withdraw? Rachel's first. Thank you, I'll come to you next time.
Well, I think you get parish council to be commented, that's me. No, I don't agree with it. Town's growing. Want to attract more, keep it as it is, and try and get some people at the table. Simple. I would look into if it is another round, because I think if it's absolute on this round, then it doesn't continue.
It does. I'd say it actually says it on the document.
My point exactly, I'm not going fully on with Rachel, and besides which the town has spoken, and we're here to serve the town.
Oh, yeah.
End of story.
Tim, I didn't call you Tim, so
That's all right.
I'm just all over the
In
phone.
an ideal world, if we could get 18 councillors more there, and we wouldn't need to look at reducing numbers, we're managing with the numbers that we've got now.
Yeah.
That will recommends only 16 councillors, so we're only following their guideline.
Yeah. I think the important thing is if we go back and say we uphold our request, it means that they're going to go through all that, whatever they have to go through round two, and we're going to come back to the same decision. We might as well just say to them, fair enough, we accept that decision, withdraw it and crack on, or do we uphold? That's what we're saying. So,
I'm just saying that as a council we're divided anyway, we don't all agree. So we've always said it's a consultation, we'll go with whatever the public decide, because that's the point of it. So we could just send, whether the process continues or not, that's down to South Holland to make their decision. But if we just say we, support the public's comments and we go with what they recommend.
yeah, that's a good proposal to me. And we have a proposal for that. Tim, seconder, Rachel, all those in favour? Items agreed. Thank you very much. Okay, so item 2022/3-072 is the events committee, and number A is to receive the report from the chair of the committee, which is your appendix for the document pack. Thank you, Isabel.
Councillor Rick Stevens and the clerk have met with the representative from RBL to discuss the Remembrance Parade, and the invitations to groups will be going out shortly. We have got another meeting this week with them and also with the vicar. We are starting to put together ideas for the Christmas event and have agreed to use all of the remaining budget on this event. We plan to have various craft, food and charity stalls and entertainment during the afternoon, and there will be a lantern parade at the end of the event. Anyone that wishes to book a stall at the event can contact myself or the clerk. We have put out loads of invitations over the weekend and have had several responses already, so that's starting to come together. It was agreed to concentrate on two main events next year, which would be the car show and Christmas. We have several smaller events throughout the year, including yard sales and activities in Carter's Park during the summer. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, item B is to review the live and local scheme and resolve to agree the way forward. There was a nice, very colourful brochure available to us all. Isabel?
Yeah, this is going back a bit now. Originally, they first contacted us 2020, I think it was. Basically, it's funded through the Arts Council. There's all different events, but different things that you can book. But it's up to you to sell the tickets and up to you to man the whole thing. There's a fee that you pay per thing, and then if you make any extra money, then they take a percentage of that. The idea is very good. And we did sign up to it at the time. Obviously then COVID broke, nothing happened, so it just died a death. The issue that I have with it, having looked at the programme of events and things that they've got on there currently for this year, there's not actually much in there that would appeal to our parishioners, I don't feel. And it would be quite a lot of work to do to make it work. So I don't really know whether it's something that is worth us pursuing. There are lots of things out there that you can book directly yourself and create an event without having to go that particular route. Really, it's down to what members want to do. But if there's nothing within the scheme that is going to appeal to our parishioners, then I don't really see that it's of benefit to us to sign up to that. We may as well look at things that we can provide ourselves and create events ourselves.
This is probably about the fourth time I've had a conversation about the very same thing. And the theory behind the whole scheme is the fact that yes, they will provide the event, but you're then selling tickets, so you've got to recoup your costs. And if you're not careful and if you don't sell enough tickets, then it's ended up costing you money, and then ultimately that's costing the parishioners money. I've been in several conversations around this, so I get exactly what Isabel's described. Whereas when we put on some of our own events, you know, if there was more collections and things going on, or every revenue streams from there, they'd be pretty much self-funding. So we've done a great load of work on events, and well done to the events team for all of that. Some fantastic stuff going on, but it's not just us putting events on. You've got SHDC, you've got all of the other incentives that are happening around. We're actually quite lucky in our area. Going back to the item is specifically for the live and local scheme. If you register your interest, does it cost you anything?
No.
So in fact we could register interest and wait until next year's schedule comes out to see what's on it, to see if there is anything there worth working for. Rachel?
Perfectly agree with what Isabel says. It's something you do yourself, definitely. And it's a bit of a grey areas if you're going to use the park and charging people to go into certain areas of the park. So if we do our own events and have little collections here, then everywhere, you're not breaking any rules. So it's something else to be mindful of. You know, yes, you could section the park cards off, but you sit inside the fence and listen for free. You know, it goes against what we do with Park really.
Yeah. It's the same sort of thing with the church. You know, the church makes the collections to them. I get it, and like you said, the expertise and the way the events has grown over the last 2 years has been fantastic. So maybe we should.
I agree. Keep enrolled and just see.
I think just keep enrolled. So the item is to consider to resolve to agree the parish council response to the. Oh, it's not. I'm reading the wrong one. Sorry. To review the live and local scheme and resolve to agree the way forward, which would be to register the interest for next year and then take it from there. Do you have a proposal? Rachel, Tim seconding. All those in favour? Okay, so that item is agreed. Thank you. 2022-03-073 is the Finance Committee, and item A is to receive the report from the Chair of the Committee, which is Appendix 5 in your agenda pack.
So, normal monthly tasks for action, all found to be in order to enable better reporting for next year. Jan, Sophie and myself have reorganised the chart of accounts on our accounting software. We reviewed our current budgets for this financial year and very quickly realised that without releasing unspent budgets, our total fuel costs are going to be massively overspent. We also have a concern around our utility bills, which suggested that we carry on monitoring our budgets to ensure that we do not need to release any money from reserves. All committees need to review the budgets and projects for next year, so imperative this is done and submitted to the finance meeting in October. Where budgets are to be increased, full justification will also need to be fully explained. Should anyone need assistance and guidance for budgeting, they should contact Jan in the first instance.
Thank you, Rick. A great reminder there, some good work being done on the finances, but we've got to keep those budgets in mind. It'll soon be upon us where we've set the preset for 2021. Okay, so item B. Now this is for me to read out. Further to minute number 2021/2-195C, the clerk/RFO plus in excess of 3 councillors, one of which was not a signature on the bank account, made the payments totalling £23,257.45. The list was distributed to all members before payments were made to note the income for August of 2022 of £4,019. And to note the bank balances as of the 31st of August 2022 as account ending in 4844, £2,988.72p, and account ending 5394, £5,024.39p. No votes required on that.
One more count.
Account ending in 01PC is 267,000. Is that right? £267,280.79p. I should put glasses on. Okay, item C is resolved to agree to write to LAMP regarding training course availability. Sophie.
So, in terms of the training course availability, it's fluctuated quite a bit. Before COVID, they were all face-to-face. They provide quite a few courses in the evenings for councillors who work. Then during COVID, it went all to Zoom, which again, there was some at different times of the day. Now it's sort of in between the two, but pretty much every single course is during the day. So given we're a council where a lot of our members work, that means that we're paying money for, you know, the free courses that we can attend, but most of our councillors can't actually attend them and can't get the benefit of them if, unless they take a day off work. So we would like to really request that they relook at their schedule, see if they can provide a few more, you know, of the shorter courses in the evenings on Zoom or whatever, like they were doing during the pandemic. I think it would be beneficial to everybody.
Okay, so I've been on quite a few of these training courses, and they are vital in our roles as councillors, parish councillors, chairs, committee members. I've been to them throughout for whole days, evenings, some I've driven to. Good point. If you're at work, you can't get to these things. So we're agreeing here to write to allow regarding the training course availability. Do we have a proposer and a seconder? Rachel, Tim, all those in favour? Okay, so if you can arrange to write to allow in regards to their availabilities, thank you. Okay, D, to resolve to agree the recommendation of the Finance Committee to appoint LALC as the interim auditor.
So, Mr Chairman, we weren't overly happy with the audit last year. The auditor is very hard to pin down and to get the information. I believe going forward, the person that we have will no longer be working for the company, but the company is still keen to keep us on their books. However, looking at what LALC offer, which is covering audit requirements across the whole of Lincolnshire, they offer a very good deal and would be daft not to take it up, I believe. Especially as I also do 7 regional allotments.
Yeah, I did notice that one.
It's only for those 2 extra items, they're only going to charge £10, I believe, each, which is very cheap.
So the recommendation of the Finance Committee is to appoint LALC as the internal auditor.
Yes.
Did everyone have a look at the documents? No? Tim, was that a shaking of the head as no, Tim?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go with the finance officer, is that?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so do you have a proposer and seconder? Rick? Mark? All those in favour? Okay, so item's approved. Thank you. E is to resolve to agree not to opt out of the Small Authorities Annual Audit Scheme. Yes, please.
So, this is something that is the smaller, or the SAAA, it's easy to say, is something that central government appoints every 3 years for an external auditor. We can opt out, but we would have to find our own external auditor, which has been difficult enough trying to find an internal auditor, so it would be even more difficult. They are good. Whoever they choose is a massive company. It's been PKF Littlejohn the last 3 years. And it's probably the best thing is to stay there, because we haven't got to look for anyone. It's recommended by central government and the price is reasonable.
It's an essential requirement to us.
Yes,
as,
it's a legal requirement.
Local authority, got to be done, and we've always used them. And here it's obviously been discussed because it's saying that we're not to opt out. So I presume that was from the Finance Committee. Do we have a proposer and a seconder? Rick and Rachel, all those in favour? Okay, items agreed. Item F is to resolve to agree the recommendation of the Finance Committee to move 2022/23 budgets as follows. 1,000 from horticultural supplies to fuel for open spaces. 1,000 from locking up to fuel open spaces. £385 from the beacon to fuel open spaces. 1,000 from business rates to gas, EPES. Proposed and seconded. Mark, Rachel, all those in
Just one more before we go on to that. £1,000 business rate of gas. Surely the business rates is really fixed. We know what it is. I appreciate that fuel is a varying quantity depending on fuel costs. But I thought the business rates were pretty fixed. While we move the money from business rates, we should only have enough money to pay them into gas. Just a question.
Isabel?
Yeah, the £1,000 that we're talking about is an extra above the normal business rates that we pay, that we put in case any of the properties became vacant.
Right.
And we ended up having to pay business rates. And as none of them have become vacant, we have got that £1,000 to
It's in the budget, that's sure.
I'll just make a quick comment for you, like, fuel-wise, we're probably going to have to go through this process every month, because fuel's just an unknown cost at the moment. It's up and down, up a year at the moment.
Even now with the pound is low up against the dollar.
Yeah, fuel's going to go right up, isn't it?
Well, now we've agreed to get windows done. Hopefully some drafts will get plugged up and it might save some money.
Yeah, we're going to turn the heat off in Cougar tomorrow.
Turn that off, yeah.
It's too hot every day.
Okay, so do we have a proposal, please, and seconder to move those items across? Tim and Rick, all those in favour? Okay, that's agreed. And item G is to resolve to agree to refund the £20 overpaid on cemetery fees. That was a little explanatory document and then obviously a little admin error.
Proposed.
Yeah, seconded. Rachel, all those in favour? Okay, approved. Thank you very much. 2022-3-074 is to discuss and resolve to agree to support the Civility and Respect project from NALC. Very interesting document. I did read that one twice. We should definitely support it.
I think it's a no-brainer, support it.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody like to make a comment on it before we go to the vote?
It's a shame that we need it, but it's needed.
Some things have to be quite black and white, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, so do we have a proposer? I'm going to propose that. A seconder? Rachel, all those in favour? Agreed. Okay, so item 2022/3-075, confirmation date and venue of the next parish council meeting. So A is the next parish, the next meeting of the parish council will be on the 10th of October 2022 here at the Methodist Hall, Albert Walk, Holwich.
At what time?
6:45 as per your update. 6:45. Okay, so we're now to resolve to agree to exclude the press and the public under the Public Bodies Administration to Meetings Act 1960 due to the confidential nature of the business to be transacted for item 2022/3-076, which is HR, Health and Safety and the Data Committee. Do you have a proposer? Rick and a seconder? Sophie. All those in favour? That's agreed. Thank you, ladies and gents.
Any other? Right.
With respect, Mr. Chairman, you did mention under the chapels about bat tiles. Has it been checked with the Conservation Officer as to whether you need planning permission? Because the Conservation Officer said to me, if there was any deviation from the current roofing line, i.e. the tiles are not exactly the same, then it requires planning permission. But as the council is replacing light for light, planning permission is not required. So if you're going to put bat tiles in for bats to go in, you'll be changing the line of the top roof, will you not?
Can I just comment?
Well, no, I can answer this because we've got them in our building. So they are not, they're actually like a little vent within, just underneath, so they can get in and out. But what we will do with all your other information is we'll check that point with the conservation team to make sure we're absolutely spot on with it. And thank you for drawing it to our attention.
Well, we don't want to be in a situation that we're going to start and then all of a sudden it's planning permission and another 6 weeks stop, do we?
We don't want that at all. We'll get onto it. Thank you.
Because they're rapidly ending up doing the work in the winter time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.